planet is that we all feel hungry and we all have to eat to ensure our survival. But what will happen if the food that we eat becomes our worst enemy and instead of sustaining a survival, it starts In spite of seeing so many natural and man-made calamities, we are now hurtling into one more man-made disaster. A disaster which may prove far more destructive than anything we have seen so far, simply because it will affect nearly every single person living on this planet. This new simmering disaster has the potential to stunt our growth, impair our immune system, and may even lead to severe damage to our brain, liver, kidneys, and other vital organs. It may increase incidence of life-threatening diseases like cancer and a number of other ailments that are unknown to us right now. Ironically, it's not a fictional plot of any horror film, but a fact that has been unfolding for nearly 2 decades now. Next on its target are the people of India. In a country that is a melting pot of cultures and religion, food is often seen as the greatest gift of God. But our staple food items like rice, pulses, and vegetables that nature has given to us are being irreparably damaged as they're being laced with genes of
terms of saying this is the solution to hunger is a totally false myth, because there are only 2 applications that have been commercialized in these 20 years of genetic engineering. One is to make seeds more resilient to herbicides, which means you get to spread more Roundup, you get to spread more glyphosate, and you get to spread more poison. Not a very desirable trait in farming systems, especially since what Monsanto will call weeds are actually alternative sources of food. For example, in India, Monsanto had ads selling Roundup with weeds around a woman's hands saying, "Liberate yourself." But what Monsanto calls weeds is food for the cattle, it's greens for the family, it's medicinal plants. And the spraying of Roundup is like an ecocide of the planet, destroying diversity.
nature allows you to cross a wheat plant with a wheat plant. Nature allows you to cross a maize plant with a maize plant, tomato plant with a tomato plant, or a pig with a pig, horse with a horse, like that. It doesn't allow interspecies crosses. What genetic engineering is doing is, you can actually cross, in that sense, you can actually cross or bring a character from, let's say, a pig into human beings, or from a human. There is something called a shock and awe. In Europe, what happened was, they were faced first with mad cow disease, and then they were faced with foot and mouth disease. Now, in both these diseases had inflicted a massive, massive destruction of the cattle. And they had to burn cattle. Thousands and thousands of cattle were burnt alive. Now, in that particular situation, they have seen the horror of all these kinds of food and feeds. Now, they realize if it can happen to...
Until unless it is proved foolproof that it has no harm for the public, don't propagate it. Propagation of something of which you are not sure of, which would create enormous damage to the life on this planet, is not acceptable by any means. It is not science.
Don't eat anything that won't eventually rot. There's a lot of food in the supermarket that will, never rot. I bought a Twinkie when I was on tour with Omnivore's Dilemma because I was using it as a prop, and it sits on my desk 2 years later, and it's as soft as the day I bought it. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you exactly what it means. When we process food to make it shelf stable, when we refine flour to make white flour, and we're so happy because it doesn't have pest problems. Why doesn't it have pest problems? Because the bacteria and the insects and the mice aren't interested in it. Why? Because it has so little nutritional value. They're not stupid. They still have instincts that guide them to the nutrients they need. They're in touch with their senses. So don't eat anything that won't